The Beckhams are England's second royal family. They have the fame, they have the wealth, they have the status. The Beckhams are huge and at the moment horribly split in a bitter civil war. So this is a story which has eerie parallels with the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. So just like Prince Harry, Brooklyn Beckham, David and Victoria's eldest son, has also married a strong-minded American woman. He's also left the UK, his country of birth, to live in a vast US mansion, and he is also no longer on speaking terms with his own family. And in a brutal new twist, which the Mark Dolan show understands has devastated the Beckhams, Brooklyn and his wife Nicola renewed their marriage vows, their wedding vows, at a lavish ceremony in front of over 200 guests, with two notable absentees, David and Victoria, mother and father of the groom. To make matters worse, Nicola Peltz, who is heir to her father Nelson Peltz's multi-million-dollar fortune, because don't forget, these spoiled kids become millionaires the moment they are born. They don't have to work for a living like you and I do. They don't have to scrimp and save and sweat their knackers off every day in a factory or in an office or in a shop or, laying roads in the dead of night, cutting down trees. I've always thought I'd be a good lumberjack. I'm very masculine. I'm an alpha male, and I think I'd look great in a quilted, padded check shirt. I just think it would be a good look for me. Anyhow, and also a chainsaw. Anyhow, I'll tell you what's happened, folks. Brooklyn Beckham, the runaway son of David and Victoria, has fired up a chainsaw and he has chopped down his own connections with his own family. He's used a chainsaw. It's been the great Texas chainsaw massacre. So here we go. That's what's happened. Nicola, who is heir to her father's enormous fortune, never done a day's work in her life, bragged on social media this week about how wonderful the event was with no reference whatsoever to her absent in-laws. How can you brag about this wedding vow renewal ceremony and not mention the parents of the man that you profess to love? Why? Because these people, just like Meghan and Harry, they're pathological. There's no empathy there. How can you go on social media and post about an event which throws out the parents of your husband with whom you've just renewed your vows? I mean, those vows to be renewed mean nothing if the mother and the father of the man that you claim to love are not there. They're in another country. That is not a renewal of the vows that carries any moral or spiritual authority whatsoever. Because we know about fake weddings, don't we? And sham weddings where people go to Bali and they get married on the beach and then they find out 10 years later that the marriage was not legally solvent. I think it might have happened to Jerry Hall. Jerry Hall, the Texas supermodel, who for some reason is very attracted to millionaire men. I don't know why. I actually don't know why. I don't know much, but I know I love you. That may be all I need to know. Jerry Hall loves a millionaire. She married Mick Jagger, start me up, and she married Rupert Murdoch. G'day. I buy a lot of newspapers. I buy a lot of TV networks, and I want to control the world. And then I'm going to divide and conquer, even with my own family. He was my boss for many years. I like Rupert Murdoch. There, I said it. That's a conversation for another day. Jerry Hall, will you marry me? I'd love to, Rupert. You're so handsome. Yes, you're 977, but I'm really into older billionaire guys, and I don't know why. Jerry Hall, very beautiful lady. She married Rupert Murdoch. And can I tell you, it was for his looks. It actually was. She married him for his looks. She did, actually. Jerry Hall married the billionaire 91-year-old Rupert Murdoch because she finds him hot. She's into the older man. Good luck to her. She's not interested in these guys that can like stand up straight and have all their own hair. That's or even their own teeth. She likes the older man. She apparently is quite drawn to Joe Biden, but Joe's taken. I think you'll find Joe's taken. Very happy with Dr. Jill, who isn't a medical doctor. Found that out the hard way. I've got so many stories. Reg, my neighbour's cat, is back at the end of the video. Cristiano Ronaldo is a billionaire. Should he do a prenup with the lady he's about to marry? And I'll tell you about the ring, which is possibly the most valuable ring in history. And Harry and Meghan, we are being lied to about their ridiculous, horrible Netflix deal. It's the worst deal ever. And they're not being honest about that. But I've got some shocking revelations about the Beckham family and how this split is exactly the same as the split which has destroyed the royal family. All of that straight after a brief word from some very good friends of mine, the sponsors of the Mark Dolan Show. Are you sick of biased news? Well, so am I. And that's why every morning, with my big cup of decaf in my Father's Day mug that I actually bought for myself, I read Ground News. It shows how stories are covered differently by the left, the right, and the centre. Take this one, for example, President Donald Trump's tariff crusade. Some outlets say that he's mad and is wrecking the economy. Others say that he's standing up for American jobs and will triumph. Well, Ground News shows both sides and lets you decide, because it turns out you've got a brain! Who knew? So try Ground News. Go to ground.news/Dolan or click the link below. You will get a 40% off discount from the Vantage plan. 40% off for the plan that I use for unlimited access. It is a game-changing way to consume the news. And more importantly, it will make you sound very clever at dinner parties. Ground News is subscriber funded. No billionaire overlords pulling the strings. Just the unvarnished truth from every angle. What's not to like? That is ground.news/Dolan. I'll drink to that. So Nicola Peltz Beckham. This is the other ridiculous thing, right? So she married Brooklyn Beckham. He's Brooklyn Beckham. She's Nicola Peltz. And they've decided to share each other's names. So he is now Brooklyn Peltz Beckham and she's Nicola Peltz Beckham. Too many names. This is inflationary. I don't have the ink for it in my red pen of truth. I don't have the stationery. Leave me alone with your multiple names, Brooklyn Peltz Beckham. You know what this is an attempt to do, don't you? This is an attempt to appear aristocratic because we have the Mountbatten Windsors who are actually royal. So they're allowed to be Mountbatten Windsor because they're dead posh. Because they're the British royal family. So they're allowed to have 8 gazillion names. But I'm plain old Mark Dolan from the Mark Dolan Show. I'm not Mark Mountbatten Monsignor Chamberlain III Dolan W XXX the second Junior. Forget it. Keep it simple. I don't have delusions of grandeur. I'm not pretending to be something I am not. What you see is what you get, which is nice for you and terrifying for my family. Harry and Meghan's Netflix lives coming up. Reg the cat. Probably the best Reg video, I'd say, so far. I love it. But look first. This woman, so they're sharing their names. So he calls it, and by the way, just like Harry, right? He's not a real man. Because a man, are you ready now for me to be SEXIST? Are you ready for me to be SEXIST? I'm going to be SEXIST. And I'm going to say that a man does not take on the lady's name. He doesn't do that. There you go. I said it. Shoot me. Let me know in the comments. That is what I would call crazy woke. It's crazy woke for a man to start taking the ladies' names. You don't do it. It's not the done thing. Sometimes people can keep the maiden name. Some women keep the maiden name. I got no problem with that. A woman doesn't want to become the ownership of some guy. I get it. I get it. Especially if she's famous and accomplished. Maybe even Nicola Peltz, right? Her dad's a billionaire. He owns, oh my God. He's worth over $1 billion. He owns shares. He owns a chunk. You won't believe this. It's actually true. He owns a chunk of the Wendy burger. Nelson Peltz owns a chunk. He owns a piece of America's premier restaurant chain, Wendy's, the Wendy burger. I don't know whether the Baconator was his idea. And I don't know how close he is to Wendy herself, which is the name of the daughter of the founder of Wendy Burger. And it's my understanding, having read one of your comments, one of you told me recently that, in fact, the Wendy from the Wendy Burger is still alive. No doubt a wealthy lady, probably obese though, based upon the menu at the Wendy Burger, which is calorie rich. So I'd imagine she's a good woman, but massive would be my guess. I think she's probably huge because she'll start her day. She's going to be loyal. She's not going to Whole Foods, is she? She's Wendy from Wendy Burger. She'll be expected. It's like when you do an endorsement. You know, I'm endorsing Ground News at the moment, right? Ground.news/Dolan. 40% off the Vantage plan. You're welcome. But that's why, I mean, I'm delighted. It's an incredible app and I use it every day. But, you know, imagine if I looked at a rival app, which of course would be inferior. No, you know, it's the expectation. It happens to be the best, but I also have a professional attachment to that brand, right? It's my job to embrace that platform. Well, poor old Wendy, she can't go to Whole Foods, can she? Or anywhere like that. McDonald's, Burger King, not really. She has to go to the Wendy Burger because she's Wendy. Listen, we don't have time for this. I've got to tell you about this, the vow renewal ceremony. But the bottom line is he does actually own, I'm not making it up, he owns a chunk of the Wendy Burger. So he's a rich man. And by the way, it's Prince Harry's favourite burger. I love the Wendy Burger. My favourite is the Baconator. It's sort of lovely. The bacon especially is really thin skinned, just like me. Hum-ba-dum-ba-dum-ba-dum. What they do, Harry and Meghan, they get the takeout of the Wendy Burger. She flips the bun and she puts the flour sprinkles in there.
Flour sprinkles for my husband. I put the flour sprinkles on the Baconator for my husband. He's my husband. I call him H. My husband. Flour sprinkles.
Just a word on those flour sprinkles. It's my opinion that they are toxic, hallucinogenic, and people aren't supposed to eat flowers. So this renewal. So I'm not happy about the name thing. Beckham Peltz. Get over yourself. His name is Brooklyn Beckham, and he should keep his name. It doesn't take the lady's name. I'm being Sexist. I get it. But I'm sorry, this is thousands of years of tradition. And I just like to uphold it. But what it is, it's crazy woke. He's taken her name. But it's more than that. He's being emasculated because he's giving away the dominance of his own name, which, by the way, is an impressive name because Beckham is a global brand now. This is a brand associated with football, commercial endorsements, fashion, the music industry. It's the Beckham. And when David Beckham married Victoria, she was called Victoria. What was her first name? Originally, her maiden name, Victoria. This is a good test of my knowledge of what's in this little tiny empty brain of mine. Adams, there you go. We got there in the end. You know what I did? I kept talking until it came. I'll keep them talking. I'll keep them distracted until the name Adams appears. But she was called Victoria Adams, and she was already one of the Spice Girls, and she sold 80 million records, and she's a multimillionaire. But she takes the name Beckham, and he doesn't call himself David Adams Beckham. He's David Beckham. He was David Beckham. He's still David Beckham because he's a guy, and the guy doesn't take the lady's name. There, I said it. But no. These two, you know, that he's been just exactly like Harry, because, you know, Harry's been emasculated. Because Harry's not even a man now. He's my husband, is what he's H. She doesn't even say his full name. His name is Harry. Well, his real name is Henry, of course. But he is Prince Harry, and he's the Duke of Sussex. But no, to her, he's H, or my husband, squashed down and made to be very, very small and emasculated. Not a proper man. No man would allow Meghan to do to the family what she did. No man would allow that. I should not allow my spouse to treat my family like that. It wouldn't happen. It would not happen. Because if my partner did that, Mrs. Dolan, I would take her down, and I would take her down to a popular locale of a lot of major cities which specializes in East Asian food. I would take her down to Chinatown, is where I'd take her. So there you go. So the names thing is ridiculous, and it demonstrates the parallels between Harry and Meghan and Nicola and Brooklyn are absolutely huge. So she's been on social media, essentially trolling Victoria and David, right? Nicola's been on social media. This is the woman that's taken Brooklyn away from his country and away from his family. Does that sound familiar? And now she's trolling and mocking Victoria and David by boasting about a ceremony to which they did not attend. Were they even invited? I doubt it. Were they invited? We will never know, but they were not there. And that tells you everything you need to know. You see, what she could have done, Nicola Peltz, Beckham, Peltz, Beckham, Bauer, Boris Becker, Boris Johnson, get Brexit done. She should have gone online and she said, we had a lovely day and we really missed the parents of my husband, David and Victoria. We love you and hope to see you soon, right? That's what you do. Instead, she gaslights them with no mention, just boasting about the wedding vow. You know something I'm really struggling with? Wedding vow renewal. So she goes, this day meant so much to us. And she did an Instagram slideshow, which kicked off with a photo of her dad, Nelson Peltz, who owns a chunk of Wendy Burger. I love the Wendy Burger, especially a Baconator, because lots of ketchup. It's red, just like my hair. Humpy dumpy dumpy dum. The selected images concluded with a group photo featuring Nicola's mum, Claudia Peltz, sister Brittany Peltz, as well as brothers Will Peltz, Bradley Peltz, and more family members. Old Nelson's got a libido, hasn't he, old Nelson? I'll tell you something. Nelson doesn't just make money, does he? He makes good in the bedroom too. Big Nelson Peltz with his large portfolio. He's got fingers in every pie, that man. Please, can we move on? And sometimes you're disgraceful, actually, and let me down, because this is a very family-friendly, clean show. Sometimes, and I love you to bits, but sometimes you bring the tone down a bit with your coarse humor. And I'm trying to present something grown up here, and you're making remarks about fingers in pies, which I find unacceptable. I'd never ban anyone from watching the show, but if you've taken me down this route, then I'd like you to just have a little think about yourself between now and the next video. So there's all these Peltzes, thanks to Nelson's libido. He's a man of appetites, don't fight it. And all these Peltzes and no Beckhams. In another social media upload, which included only shots of herself and Brooklyn, Nicola gushed, in every lifetime. Don't even know what that means. With these rich people, I mean, that's the funny thing. They're rich, right? And they've gone to great schools, but they're so thick. In every lifetime? Would you care to put a verb in that sentence? Is that asking too much? So, can we just talk now about renewing your vows? I need some help with that. Yes, you renew your vows if you've been together for 50 years, because that is a reward for putting up with someone for that long and having a successful marriage, which is not an easy thing to do. So I think it's quite nice to renew the vows at 50, or maybe 25 years, maybe 35 years, 50, a big number, folks. Not 3 years, when no aspect of real life has infringed on your daily existence because these people are privileged beyond belief, multimillionaires in their own rights. So they don't taste reality. There's no poverty. There's no, the car breaking down on the motorway because it's some old clunker, which is rusty and held together with gaffer tape and hope. There's none of that. There's no working 3 jobs just to pay the rent. There's no cost of living crisis and going into your local Target or your local Albertsons or your local Whole Foods or your local Walmart, terrified at how much some meat is going to cost you to feed your family. I like Albertsons. From the Mark Dolan show road trip, I went there, and I would be open to Albertsons sponsoring the show. I thought it was an honest store. I liked it. I bought some protein bars in there, and there was a lady that was working there, and there was a deal on with these protein bars, but you needed like an Albertsons loyalty card. And I said, "Oh, hello, this is a loyalty deal." I get more British when I'm around Americans. "Hello, I'm rather keen to pertain upon the opportunity of this pecuniary open goal of a discount for loyal and revered participants in the Albertson project." So I said to her, "Look, this loyalty card, you get a deal. I don't have a loyalty card, but I don't live in America. Do I need an American address?" And she said, "Don't worry." And she went over with her own work pass, and she just approved it. And so I got like the loyalty scheme without being a US resident, right? I mean, when the authorities find out, I suspect I won't get back into America. I suspect that my face pops up at every customs point in the United States. Now that the border is, closed again, you actually, it's not that easy anymore to enter America casually, just in the afternoon. That's gone. That loophole has disappeared, which I was looking forward to participating in. I was going to take cameraman John and we were going to enter America from the southern border, but it didn't happen in the end. That pipe dream is gone. So it's got to be official. And the Albertsons, anyway, I liked Albertsons, but she buzzed me in for the loyalty, and I saved about $10. It was quite spectacular. Anyhow, these people don't live in the real world, Brooklyn and Nicola, and they've been married 3 years. Why are they renewing their vows? She's 30, he's 26. They haven't lived a life. They've done nothing except drive around in sports cars and rattle around enormous air-conditioned mansions. What have they been through as a couple? Well, all they've done, the only achievement in 3 years of marriage, is to alienate half the family. That's nothing to celebrate. That is the time when you don't renew the vows and think, we better fix this so that we still got a marriage in a few years' time. Because be clear, if you have an ugly family split, the marriage is doomed. Okay? I guarantee you that if you have an ugly split, there's no long-term hope for the marriage. Because if there's that amount of bad blood, which there shouldn't be, because David and Victoria are lovely people and they've given so much to their kids. They're such loving parents. I mean, they do everything for their kids. They're obsessed with their children. David's got an enormous Brooklyn tattoo above his backside. Kind of appropriate now when I think about it. When you think about what comes out of Brooklyn's mouth these days. Brooklyn Peltz Beckham. So they've achieved nothing except destroy the family, and now they're celebrating after 3 years. Why would you? I think it's insecure to renew the vows after 3 years. Is there a problem? The only other time, by the way, that I think you renew the vows is if the marriage, after many years, there was a big upset, okay? So let's imagine that you've been married 20 years and there was a huge, enormous meltdown in the relationship and you kind of like separated for a year or 2 years, right? So big marriage, big long relationship, midlife crisis, that kind of thing. You're apart for 6 months, a year, 2 years. And then you come back together and you go, I missed you. I was so crazy not being with you. Like Phil Collins, who remarried his ex-wife because he realized they made a mistake to divorce. One more night. Give me just one more night. That's obviously what he said to her, didn't he? He got several more nights. I'll spare you the gory details. He's got fingers in pies. family show. Please behave. So anyway, I should, at some point, I'm going to do a special video about Phil Collins, his life and career. What an interesting man. I'll tell you, the story there is epic, but we don't have time for it now. So, that's when, if the marriage has had if long marriage, a big hiccup in the middle, and then you finally come back together and then you renew the vows, I get it, because it's like we had a problem and we fixed it and we're going to celebrate. But you don't renew the vows when you're respectively 26 and 30 years of age and you've been married 3 blinking years, especially when your wedding in April 2022 in Florida was so luxurious. This was a $5 million ceremony, which took place at Nicola's family's 13-acre beachfront residence in Palm Beach, Florida. They basically own, the Peltz's own most of Florida, really. The property is valued at just shy of $100 million. They erected multiple marquees on the property. There were 600 guests, including Serena and Venus Williams, Eva Longoria. Remember her? Showbiz, isn't it cruel? Spice Girls members, do you want to be my lover? Or are you my just best friend? Friendship lasts forever. Friendship never ends. Gordon Ramsay was there, probably spat the food out, just like in the Kitchen Nightmares. Imagine having Gordon Ramsay round for dinner and you serve your signature dish, which is the lasagna. And he's like, what the F is this? Oh, I'm going to throw up. What the F is this? But he was there. I like Gordon Ramsay. He smiled at me in a lift once. I kid you not. Entertainment featured a performance by Mark Anthony, set by Snoop Dogg and DJ Fat Tony, who I understand is not fat. And a magic set by the rather crazy David Blaine. So this was a lavish event, right? Millions of dollars on a $100 million estate. You don't need another party 3 years later after that level of celebration, right? You need to spend 30 years just processing how incredible that wedding was. By the way, the wedding was incredible in a rather chaotic way. There were the wedding planners were dismissed throughout. Does that sound familiar? My husband. What Meghan wants, Meghan gets. I mean, what an absolute dog's dinner the run up to Harry and Meghan's wedding was. And the Queen, by the way, Queen Elizabeth, furious about their plans. She said, this is my house and I'm paying for all of this. Why am I not having some input here? Oh, they froze Elizabeth out. They couldn't care less because no one is sacred for the Sussexes. So the Peltzes, their wedding was a complete dog's dinner. Party planners were dismissed. There were lawsuits from different contractors. The Peltzes, Nelson Peltz, who is, obviously I'm not going to criticize him too much because he's a billionaire with access to the finest legal minds in the world. So I'm going to say he's a very good looking guy and I'd marry him too, especially given how fertile he is. But he sued lots of the wedding planners because he wasn't happy with this and that. But the big drama, the huge drama at that wedding, which in many ways sowed the seed of all of this misery, this human misery, is that on the wedding day, Nicola Peltz did not wear a dress designed by Brooklyn's mother, Victoria Beckham, who is, can I just remind you, a dress designer. So just think about this for a second. You're getting married, and the mother of your husband, who you claim to love, is a dress designer, and you don't wear her dress. The incredible snub. So Victoria's been snubbed, and Victoria's an incredible designer. The elegance of her clothes, difficult to fit into. You need to not eat for 7 years. And ideally try not to breathe too much when you're wearing one of her dresses. Like that. I think Victoria eats an apple every 10 years. That's it. That's her treat. Good luck to her. But you wear your mother-in-law's dress when your mother is not just a dress designer, but a world-famous, renowned dress designer. And that was a shape of things to come. And of course, Brooklyn put up with that. He let it happen, just like Harry let all the stuff with Meghan happen. And now all we have is untold human misery. This event, right, the renewing of the vows, the press were told this was an event about honoring the love and commitment that these two have built together over the years. It's 3 years. You can't say over the years. It's 3 years. And creating a memory that will stay with them forever. Well, my memory of this is that David and Victoria weren't there. That's my memory. And that'll be their memory too, by the way. Brooklyn spoke to People magazine about the beautiful experience. He called the ceremony a really cute memory. He's not a gifted wordsmith. A Shakespeare he is not. A really cute memory. Cute indeed. To be honest, he said, I could renew my vows every single day with her. See, look, it's exactly like Harry. He's under her thumb, isn't he? He's under her spell. She controls everything. She calls the shots. He said, I think the most important thing that someone can do. Where does this great philosophy come from? Why are we listening to this man who is 26 and won the womb lottery, just like Prince Harry? He said, I think the most important thing that someone can do is find that person that they're going to spend the rest of their life with. He said, it definitely shapes you as a person. The event was really cute. It was really fun. I don't know what any of that means. It's another word salad. Although Brooklyn first sparked feud rumors with one of his siblings in April, reports surfaced the following month that he and Nicola were also at odds with David and Victoria. So the Nicola and Brooklyn camp are calling David and Victoria narcissistic. Do me a favor. You've just renewed your wedding vows after 3 years. And David and Victoria, hardworking celebrities, are the narcissists. Please put it away. So they're a horrible couple. Don't forget that the wonderful, wonderful David and Victoria were very nice to Harry and Meghan. Victoria shared all of her fashion and showbiz contacts with Meghan and explained to her about English etiquette and London, the London elite scene. And David was very supportive of Harry's charity activities and turned up to the opening of an envelope, which means a lot when you're David Beckham. And yet what do the Sussexes do? Accuse the couple of leaking stories about them to the press, like David and Victoria, who are very wealthy and very powerful, are going to waste their time calling newspaper editors going, hey, I've got a story for you. I mean, this is delusional at best. But the bottom line is that there is this horrible split now. And I don't see it going anywhere but a very dark place. Brooklyn is so poisoned against his family that he didn't wish his father a happy Father's Day. He didn't attend his father's 50th birthday celebrations, which happened on several days, which meant he could have attended at least one of those celebrations. He didn't have to go to every single thing because they went fishing, they went for dinner, they went to France, they went to lots of places. He could have piggybacked one of those, especially because on one occasion he was in London at the same time. But no, his father's 50th birthday, Father's Day, not a cause for any acknowledgement. And wait for it, David became Sir David Beckham, knighted, the highest honour in the land. Not a squeak out of Brooklyn, probably jealous, if we're honest. And yet Brooklyn's on the internet the whole time, wishing his father-in-law Nelson a happy birthday, mourning the passing of Nicola's grandmother. Of course, it's very sad that Nicola's grandmother passed. But if you're going to acknowledge the passing of a very old lady that was the grandmother of your wife, you might mention your dad's 50th or him becoming a knight of the realm. It might come up in conversation. I genuinely think this Brooklyn boy is actually afraid of his wife, because I don't know whether the renewing of the vows was his idea, because he said it was cute and it was fun. That sounds like he's responding to an event that he had to take part in. And just recently, he actually posted on Instagram a message about his wife. And he said, my whole world, I will love you forever. I always choose you, baby. You're the most amazing person I know. Me and you forever, baby. Which it sounds like a hostage note, doesn't it? Does that sound familiar? Oh, Meghan, you're amazing. You're such an amazing person. I love you so much. Thank you, my husband. It is a like for like. I'll tell you what's not like for like. David and Victoria have got great, great dignity. And they've just been on holiday throughout this drama with the renewing of vows. And they're on their luxurious summer escape aboard their $20 million super yacht, enjoying the Tuscan sunshine. They both look incredible, and they're in a committed, happy marriage. And they're with their youngest son, who is Cruz. By the way, there are some suggestions that the Peltz Beckhams, Nicola and Brooklyn, have unfollowed the two brothers, the Beckham brothers, Romeo and Cruz, on social media, which, as any young person will tell you, is an act of war. But they're on their boat and they're having a great time. They're enjoying themselves. The boat's got a jacuzzi. And you know something, a bit like the royals in the United Kingdom and Trooping the Colour and all these other things that we've seen in the absence of Harry and Meghan, it's quite clear from King Charles, from Camilla, from William and Catherine and others, that they don't need Harry and Meghan. And David and Victoria don't need the Peltz Beckhams, or whatever the heck we're supposed to call them these days. Folks, so excited about the next show. I will tell you, if you're new to the program, that there is a cat that visits my house. It's not my cat, it's my neighbour's cat, Reg. And he's a terrible interruption. He's a very lovable creature, but you know, he slows me down. I'm trying to build a media franchise here and become the #1 talk show on the planet. Okay? And there is this feline fiend that gets in the way. He's called Reg, and I'll let him close out the show. Can't wait to see you for the next show. Bye for now. Stay awesome. Ciao.
Okay, we have a problem because I'm preparing for the Mark Dolan show, and we've got some very big stories today, including this one about a very serious split within the Beckham family. Okay, they are England's second royal family. But how am I supposed to get any work done when this happens? I mean, this is a professional media organisation. And yet, I'm invaded by a creature that doesn't even belong to me. Okay, this chap is not my cat. I don't pay his medical bills. I don't have access to the chip that's in him, which confirms his identity as Reg the cat. I don't know whether he's got brothers and sisters. I don't know about his parentage. And yet here he comes crashing into my life, and therefore your life. Because yes, he might be a very handsome devil. We can all acknowledge that. He's a fine looking boy. But if his intent is to bring down the Mark Dolan show with his relentless interruptions, then I've got a problem. But as a viewer of the show, you've got a problem too. I'm beginning to wonder, and I'm not prone to conspiracy theories, but do you think there's a chance that Reg is a spy? He's an agent working on behalf of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, so I can't do any more royal truth bombs. Do you think he's been sent in by my husband? No, you can't eat that. That's a fridge magnet.